So we've covered personal tax and the changes that are coming into the budget. What about changes for companies and employers?
Yeah, so I suppose the big announcement was employers' national insurance, which applies to all employers, whether you are a limited company, partnership, LLP, sole trader, um,
Or a not-for-profit?
yeah, charities. Um, so I think they've probably increased employers' NI because they didn't want to break any of the pledges that they made in the run up to the election, because they promised not to increase taxes for the working person.
Yeah.
There's obviously been all sorts of debate about what is a working person and is a business owner a working person,
Yeah.
etc. But we're not going to go down that route. So I think they basically backed themselves into a corner, and the only tax left to increase was employers' national insurance, which really sticks in my throat because for years I've been saying employers' national insurance should be lower. You know, taxing job creation, taxing businesses that train people in their team to with new skills, etc., better paid jobs, to tax businesses that do that is just ridiculous. Um, we want to create jobs. We want to incentivize job creation. We don't want to punish businesses that create jobs. So, yeah, completely disagree with this increase, but it is what it is. So, employers' national insurance is going up from 13.8% to 15%,
Yep.
which in itself is quite a big increase. But they've also reduced the threshold at which you start paying employers' national insurance on each employee. So the first £9,096 was employers NI free, but now it's 5,000. So there's going to be a lot more employees that you're paying employers' national insurance on. So we've done some calculations. Somebody earning 35k, for example,
Yep.
the employer's NI bill for that one member of your team is going to go up £925. So if you've got multiple people at that sort of level, then it's multiple times £925. The employer's national insurance is paid monthly with your
Yep.
normal monthly pay-as-you-earn bill.
So for really small businesses, they will be able to claim at the moment the employment allowance.
Yeah, so there was one bit of good news in that the employer's national insurance employment allowance is going up from 5,000 to 10,500. So there was a fear that they were going to scrap the employment allowance. The employment allowance is basically a sort of a cash back. It's a refund of your first 5,000 or 10,500 of employers' national insurance. So I suppose if your current employer's national insurance bill is sort of 4, 5, 6 or 7k a year, then you might actually be slightly better off on the back of this. But if your current employer's national insurance bill is sort of 9, 10, 11 plus, then you're going to be worse off. So your profits are going to be lower, and also your cash flow is going to be affected because you're having to pay this monthly. So I guess it's just really important to have a look at what your employer's NI cost is currently. We actually show it as a separate line in our clients' profit and loss accounts, don't we?
Yes.
Work out what it's going to be from April and just make sure you've got plans in place to deal with that, whether it be lower profits, increasing your prices, or I guess a combination of the two.
It's also making sure you are actually claiming the employment allowance if you're eligible for it, because not every software will automatically claim it. You have to go in and make sure you've got a box that's ticked.
Yeah.
So it's important to make sure that that is ticked as well
Yeah.
at the beginning of the year.
Doubly important next year with it being 10k rather than 5k.
So that's the cost for the employer. For individuals, there was some good news for them that minimum wages are increasing.
Yeah, so national minimum wage, which the government calls the national living wage, which is not to be confused with the real living wage, which is completely separate.
Yeah.
So that's going up to £12.21 from April. For younger people aged 18 to 20, it's going up to 10, and the apprentice rate or under 18s will be on a minimum of £7.55. They're trying to close, the Conservatives were trying to close the gap between the minimum wage for older people and minimum wage for younger people, and that gap continues to narrow under the Labour government.
So for individuals, they will receive more in their pocket as the minimum wage increases, but for employers, that's another cost that's increasing, as well as national insurance.
Yeah, and the concern is sectors that traditionally employ lower paid workers. So, for example, hospitality, leisure, retail, the care sector. Are they going to be able to pass these price rises on to their customers, to the organisations that give them grants, etc.? There's a lot of concern in the sort of charity sector about the national minimum wage increase, and also the employers' NI increase. So yeah, it's national minimum wage increases on the back of the cost of everything else going up, energy bills, raw materials, etc. And now employers' national insurance going up. It's going to be a tricky time for some businesses next year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But good news that lower paid workers are going to be paid more. It'll make perhaps a little bit easier for them to deal with cost of living increases, etc. And a lot of these younger people do spend money in the sectors that we've just mentioned, hospitality, retail, etc. So it's a bit of a sort of swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it?
It is. So if any businesses, employers have any questions, please contact us at help@360accountants.co.uk. You can call us on 01482 427 360, or you can DM us on any of our socials.